We're going to prove who we are and why we're here.
Welcome back to Marvelous Videos. I'm Rylan, and this is Grimlock Origins Transformers. Welcome everybody to today's episode, all about the Transformer Grimlock. If you're a fan of the Transformers franchise, then you know that Grimlock is one of the most iconic characters. He's a fierce and powerful Autobot who transforms into a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex. But there's more to Grimlock than meets the eye. So, in today's episode, we'll dive deeper into his history, exploring his origins in the original Transformers cartoon series, as well as his various other appearances in comics, video games, and the more recent adaptations in live-action film. We'll also take a closer look at Grimlock's unique abilities and his personality traits, from his brute strength and durability to his stubbornness and sense of honor. And of course, we'll also be showcasing some of Grimlock's most epic battles and his moments from throughout the whole Transformers franchise. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to learn everything you need to know about the mighty Grimlock. Actually, before we get into our explanation though, we do have one very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just one small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks. Now, let's begin.
Stupid nature! Come back and fight like Dinobot!
Leader of the mighty Dinobots, Grimlock origin. In the Transformers universe, the character known as Grimlock is considered the most dangerous member of the Dinobots. Many of the Autobots find themselves puzzled by Clobber, which just so happens to be his nickname, and why he is fighting alongside them. Grimlock's personality seems better suited for the Decepticons, as he places a greater emphasis on power and brawn rather than intelligence and empathy. However, what they fail to understand is that Grimlock has a strong sense of justice, and despises those who abuse their power. He may have a rough exterior, but he will always stand on the side of doing what's right. Regardless, he doesn't always see eye to eye with the majority of the Autobots, and tends to resort to violence when faced with a challenge, using his Energo sword frequently to take down his opponents. Grimlock doesn't seem to be concerned with casualties as other Autobot leaders, nor does he display a great deal of empathy towards the humans. Although he is incredibly powerful, Grimlock is often cold and unsympathetic towards those he deems beneath him, including humans, and even Optimus Prime for that matter. He craves power, and would willingly replace Optimus as Autobot commander if given the chance, as he views himself as superior to his leader. These factors have led to him defecting to the side of evil at many times, mainly due to Grimlock's animosity towards Optimus Prime. Despite his occasional disagreements with Prime, Grimlock still holds a great deal of respect for the Autobot leader's strength and his leadership skills. In spite of his complex personality, Grimlock is a skilled and fearless fighter, and his abilities in combat are impressive even to his enemies. In his dinosaur form as a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Grimlock possesses incredible strength and can break through almost anything with his massive teeth. He also has the ability to fire a devastating energy beam from his jaws. Grimlock wields a powerful Energo sword and a self-propelled rocket launcher with 2 barrels as a robot. As the leader of the Dinobots, Grimlock commands a small but formidable group of warriors. He is an incredibly powerful and durable Transformer, capable of going head-to-head with not just Megatron, but also obviously Optimus Prime, and holding his own. One of his most notable quirks is his manner of speech, which resembles that of a stereotypical caveman, leading him to refer to himself as me, Grimlock, instead of using proper grammar. Despite his flaws and dubious morality, Grimlock is a powerful character in the Transformers franchise. He has made numerous appearances throughout all forms of media. In the American Transformers cartoon continuity, Grimlock is voiced by Greg Berger. The Dinobot Grimlock was created by the Autobot scientist Wheeljack, along with his companions Sludge and Slag. However, when first activated, they went on a rampage throughout the Autobots base. Later, when the Autobots were captured by the Decepticons, Wheeljack and Bumblebee reactivated the Dinobots to rescue their comrades, defeating the Decepticons in the process. Grimlock's conviction in his strength was manipulated by Megatron, causing him to rebel against the Autobot leader Optimus Prime. In a battle with the newer Dinobots, Snarl and Swoop, Optimus Prime saved Grimlock during a meteor explosion, causing him to acknowledge Prime's leadership once again. Grimlock remained a valuable member to the Autobots, aiding in the protection of Earth and guarding the Ark against the Decepticons' Devastator. The Autobots later discovered that they had been tricked into standing down during a confrontation with Megatron, and Grimlock continued to prove his loyalty to the Autobot cause. Grimlock played a crucial role in the second season of Transformers, starting with his contribution in the Atlantis Arise battle. While he was a valuable asset to the Autobots, Grimlock was also growing frustrated with the lack of recognition for his intelligence and his strategic capabilities, as he was often typecast as mere brawn. This was further amplified by the reckless behavior of the Dinobots Autobots, who often acted without regard for orders or consequences. When their antics caused severe damage to the Ark on Dinobot Island, Grimlock took it upon himself to train them on a secluded island to better prepare them for combat. In the destruction of the Dinobots' Ark, Grimlock finally reaches his breaking point with the Autobots and decides to take matters into his own hands. He led the Dinobots through the space bridge to Cybertron, hoping to find a place where they could belong. Unfortunately, Shockwave managed to capture and enslave most of the Dinobots, which ultimately led to their rescue by Spike and Carly. Through these events, Grimlock learned that while he was a powerful fighter, he could not succeed alone, and he needed to rely on others to achieve his goals. Grimlock assisted Rodimus Prime in snooping for the Decepticons in Char in the introductory miniseries of Season 3, dubbed 5 Faces of Evil. Grimlock signed himself up to work as a server at a high-profile diplomatic event on Cybertron. In an effort to liven things up, he followed Daniel Witwicky as he wandered off, and the two of them stumbled into a strange portal that transported them to an alien world known as Minonia. Grimlock was granted an incredible gift of superintelligence. With this newfound intelligence, Grimlock was able to construct a team of powerful transformers known as the Technobots, using parts salvaged from the head of the planet-eating Unicron. The Technobots were created to combat the dangerous new Decepticon faction known as the Terracons, who were causing chaos and destruction throughout the whole galaxy. However, even with their advanced technology, the Technobots needed help to keep up with the Terracons in battle. Grimlock realized that the only way to defeat the Terracons was to combine the Technobots into the powerful Computron, a gestalt entity capable of immense power. With his superintelligence, Grimlock transmitted his knowledge and skills to Computron, allowing him to overcome the Terracons and emerge victorious. With the threat of Cybertron neutralized, Grimlock returned to his former self, content with having saved the day once again. In a fierce battle at the end of the galaxy, Grimlock found himself among a group of Transformers with animal forms, all summoned by an ex-assistant of Primacron, the mastermind behind the creation of Unicron. The assistant believed that the primal instincts of these Transformers would be enough to destroy Primacron's latest creation, Tornadron. However, despite their best efforts, they all fell to Tornadron's power, with Grimlock seemingly crushed under the might of Trypticon. Miraculously, Grimlock managed to survive and returned with Tornadron to Primacron's laboratory. When Tornadron turned against his creator, even Primacron's meticulous planning and computations proved futile. In a moment of genius, Grimlock randomly flipped a switch that reversed Tornadron's power polarity, neutralizing the creator's destructive force and dispersing it. Overjoyed with his victory, Grimlock celebrated by unleashing his wrath upon Primacron's laboratory, demolishing it completely. It was a triumph that Grimlock held dear as one of the most significant accomplishments of his life. Grimlock in Transformers: Robots in Disguise. Being one of Cybertron's worst sought, Grimlock was imprisoned in a hibernation pod aboard the prison cruiser Alchemore. Once the spacecraft had crashed on Earth, a brief encounter with Underbite left him free, but he met Bumblebee and his Autobot squad for the first time. He had unresolved issues with Underbite, so the conversation was cut short. His hand was bitten during the battle, and he was tossed into a restaurant, but he was eager for round 2. Underbite managed to flee, heading towards Crown City, while Grimlock expresses his desire to do good. As a result, Bumblebee stated that Grimlock will be placed on probation. Grimlock is known for his ferocious and aggressive fighting style. He takes pleasure in using brute force to solve problems, and has a tendency to destroy things when he gets overexcited. Despite his love for violence, he has shown signs of maturity and intelligence, with an improved way of speaking and less arrogance than before. However, he still has a quick temper and can be easily provoked. He has proven his loyalty to the team on multiple occasions, going to great lengths to show his worth. Interestingly, Grimlock has a phobia of Earth's domesticated cats. In one of his nightmares, he even hung from a tree to avoid a kitten. It's unclear as to why he was placed on the Alchemore initially, and Grimlock himself has stated that he is not a bad guy. Grimlock's robot form is black and green all throughout, with a light orange face and blue-colored eyes. His Dino form is green, black, and a little gray. He has a few yellow patches on his chest and face. He has eyebrows, a nose, and 2 large arms. Additionally, he has a golden inlay in the middle of his brow. He had Decepticon insignia on his forearms until Fixit updated them with Autobot emblems in Robots in Disguise. He looks to be the team's strongest member, as Bumblebee noted in the episode titled Deep Trouble. Grimlock is the team's muscle. In several instances, he can stand toe-to-toe with his opponent, Underbite, and his fighting technique is comparable to that of professional wrestlers.
Stupid nature! Come back and fight like Dinobot!
Grimlock in Transformers Animated 2007. David Kaye voiced Grimlock in 2007 Transformers animated cartoon. Grimlock is a commanding figure who led a team of dinosaur Transformers called the Dinobots. He is a formidable opponent, born from a combination of Cybertronian and Earth technology, with a touch of Allspark influence as well. Grimlock's solution to any problem is usually to smash, slice, chew, roast, eat, or a combination of all these actions. Grimlock's intelligence is not exactly his strongest suit, as he doesn't initially realize that he's a Transformer. However, he is one of the most physically imposing Transformers, possessing immense strength that even Megatron would struggle to match. His jaws and fiery breath make him a formidable close-range fighter in his beast form, while his blazing sword is a potent weapon in robot form. Grimlock is known for his anger and a short fuse, which makes him a dangerous foe to encounter. Despite living with his Dinobots in a hidden outpost in Lake Erie, Grimlock is always ready to leave and take on the most significant challenges. Prowl and Bulkhead work hard and keep Grimlock and the Dinobots out of the public eye. However, once Grimlock decides to take action, nothing can stop him. He is not afraid to take on the most significant threats and will feed his opponents their chases if they cross him. In summary, Grimlock is a tough, no-nonsense Transformer who leads the team of Dinobots with ferocity. His sheer physical strength, combined with his fiery breath and blazing sword, make him a formidable opponent in any situation. His lack of intelligence is compensated for his instincts and pure brute force, making him a valuable asset to any team that he's a part of. When facing Grimlock, one should be prepared for a fierce battle and not underestimate his capabilities. Grimlock also serves as the sole Dinobot who can speak, and even names himself. In this series, David Kaye also plays Optimus Prime. Grimlock got his moniker from a combination of Megatron's words, "My prospects are grim, locked in this prison of a lab." Who knew he would be capable of that thought? When he is enraged or in infatuation, his head jumps up and some flames shoot up from under his neck in robot mode, as shown in the episode titled Black Friday. It is genuinely so cool. In comparison to his GI predecessor, the Grimlock's beast form is considerably more anatomically realistic than what we currently know about the structural skeleton of a real Tyrannosaurus Rex. Grimlock's mouth and jaw resemble an unfinished sketch from Don Figueroa's War Within Grimlock. Grimlock had an overbite in his pre-mechanical phase, which he had when still in the theme park, but when his cover is burnt off to show his mechanical components below, he had an underbite, which many found strange. Grimlock's storyline in the comic series, Marvel Comics. In the early days of the Autobots, they remained in stasis within their ship while surveying the planet that they had landed on. However, they detected the arrival of an enemy force and quickly sprang into action. The Autobots needed to bolster their ranks, so they used advanced technology to transform a group of dormant Autobots into mighty new warriors, known as the Dinobots. These fearsome machines were sent to confront the enemy, but things didn't go exactly as planned, and they found themselves trapped in a treacherous landscape. Eventually, the Autobots managed to free the Dinobots, and they became valuable allies in the fight against the enemy. However, prolonged exposure to the harsh environment had taken a toll on the Dinobots, and they began to lose control of their behavior. The Autobots struggled to keep them in line, and it wasn't long before they clashed with their commanding officer, Grimlock. Despite their differences, Grimlock proved himself to be a capable and tenacious leader. He worked tirelessly to keep the Dinobots in check, even as they struggled to resist their primal instincts. Over time, Grimlock became one of the most respected commanders in the Autobot army, and he was often considered for promotion to the rank of general. Grimlock was now a respected Autobot warrior, known for his incredible strength and commanding presence. After the death of their beloved leader, Optimus Prime, Grimlock saw an opportunity to take the reins and become the new Autobot leader. He convinced the other Autobots to follow him. He led them into a battle against the Decepticon Trypticon, where he emerged victorious and earned the title of leader. However, Grimlock's leadership style quickly began to cause problems. He acted impulsively and made decisions without consulting his subordinates, which led to tension and discord within the Autobot ranks. He became obsessed with power and wore a crown, causing some of his former allies to flee from his aggressive command style. When Megatron returned, Grimlock clashed with him in a fierce battle. Although he emerged victorious, his actions showed just how far he had fallen from his once noble ideals. He was willing to murder to protect one of his own, and he showed very little regard for the lives of those he considered his enemies. Eventually, Grimlock's actions led to a confrontation with Blaster, a former ally who had become his enemy. The two battled fiercely, but when Ratbat's Decepticons attacked, they put aside their differences and worked together to defend their fellow Autobots. In the end, Grimlock was humbled by the experience and welcomed the return of Optimus Prime as their Autobot leader. He learned that true leadership is about more than just strength and power. It's about making the right decisions and working together as a team to achieve a common goal. Grimlock was brought back to life with the help of the Advanced Pretender technology after his untimely demise at the hands of Starscream. Alongside Jazz and Bumblebee, Grimlock embarked embarked on a mission to locate the Creation Matrix, a powerful artifact sought after by both Autobots and Decepticons. Their search took them to VSQS, where they discovered an abandoned scientific station in search of clues. As they searched, Thunderwing and his Decepticon forces launched a surprise attack on the Autobots, leading to a fierce battle. Despite their best efforts, Grimlock, Jazz, and Bumblebee were unable to defeat the powerful Thunderwing, and the Matrix was stolen from them. The Autobots' mission was further complicated by the station's strong gravitational pull, which depleted their energon reserves and left them in danger of stasis lock. Despite being rescued by their fellow Autobots, Grimlock couldn't shake his feelings of guilt for surviving when so many others had perished in the fight. As he recovered and plotted his next move, Grimlock remained determined to recover the Matrix and protect it from falling into the wrong hands. He knew that the fate of the entire Autobot race depended on their success, and he was willing to risk everything to ensure that they emerged victorious in the end. After a devastating battle with the Decepticons, many Autobots lay fallen on the battlefield. Among them were the Dinobots, a group of mighty warriors that Grimlock, their leader, held dear. Desperate to save his comrades, Grimlock turned to rumors of a rare substance known as Energon X that had the potential to resurrect fallen Autobots. Despite the objections of Optimus Prime, Grimlock commandeered a ship and set off on a perilous journey to locate the source of the Energon X. He faced numerous challenges along the way, including fierce battles with the Decepticons and zombie-like mechanoids that guarded the precious substance. Grimlock began to question his motives, wondering if he was truly trying to save his comrades or simply trying to outperform Optimus as a leader. Eventually, Grimlock arrived at the source of the Energon X and tested it on himself, feeling a surge of power and no immediate side effects. He then used the substance to resurrect the fallen Dinobots and traveled to the Ark, where he attempted to inject the Energon X into the life support chambers to revive the other fallen Autobots. However, unknown to Grimlock, Megatron was also in one of those pods, and his revival had unintended consequences. As time passed, Grimlock began to suffer from the effects of the Energon X, experiencing irregular joint locking and other symptoms that he tried to conceal from the other Autobots. But Grimlock's body shut down entirely during a battle, leaving him vulnerable to attack. High Q, a fellow Autobot, intervened and granted Grimlock a new, more powerful body that came at a cost. He could no longer transform. Despite this setback, Grimlock remained determined to protect his fellow Autobots and continue to lead the Dinobots into battle against the Decepticons, knowing that their courage and strength could make all the difference in the ongoing war between the two factions. After the demise of Optimus Prime, Grimlock was chosen as the next Autobot leader, but he faced a difficult challenge in the form of Prowl, who acted as his advisor and conscience. Prowl attempted to establish peace talks with the Decepticons, but Grimlock was wary of their intentions and ordered the Dinobots to prepare for any potential deception. Under the leadership of their new commander Bludgeon, the Decepticons attacked and damaged the Autobot spacecraft on Cybertron before embarking on a raiding spree. However, Grimlock had taken precautions by keeping a reserve fleet of spacecraft ready and installing surveillance equipment on the Decepticon vessels. These measures helped the Autobots track down the Decepticons to the planet Clo. Despite his efforts, Grimlock's plans fell apart when the Dinobots fell into a trap set by the Decepticons, who had discovered Grimlock's tracking device. A fierce battle then ensued, resulting in the deaths of many Autobots and Decepticons. In the end, only Blaster, Grimlock, Cup, Prowl, and Slag survived. Despite their losses, they managed to outmaneuver the Decepticon forces and redirect the battle towards Bludgeon and his soldiers. At this critical moment, Optimus Prime, who had been restored to life, appeared with a new ally. The last Autobot had the power to resurrect any fallen Autobots, and with his help, Optimus Prime revived all the Autobots who had died in combat with the Decepticons. This unexpected turn of events stunned the Decepticons, and Bludgeon withdrew with his surviving troops. With a fully fueled and revived Autobot army, Grimlock and his forces emerged victorious in their fight against the Decepticons. Overall, Grimlock's journey was one of triumphs and challenges. He initially ignored the warnings about the nucleon and suffered the consequences, but ultimately received a newer, more powerful body. As a leader, he again faced challenges, such as dealing with the presence of Prowl and navigating peace talks with the Decepticons. However, his foresight and determination ultimately led to the defeat of the Decepticons and the triumph of the Autobots. Dreamwave Comics. In this storyline, Grimlock's past involved being a prize fighter in underground cage matches. Although he was seen as a formidable and ruthless fighter by his opponents, Grimlock's aggression stemmed from a need to release his inner demons. When the war began, Grimlock initially joined the Decepticons, but later had a change of heart and defected to the Autobots. He quickly rose up the ranks to become a leader of a group of seasoned warriors, including Wheeljack, Cup, and Ironhide. Despite his newfound loyalty to the Autobots, Grimlock often found himself at odds with the Council of the Ancients and their tactics. tactics. During a private conversation with Jazz, Prowl, and the running crew, Grimlock expressed his frustrations and even hinted at the possibility of taking out Optimus Prime if he felt he wasn't up to the task. After a successful battle against the Decepticons, Grimlock continued to feel unsatisfied with Optimus Prime's leadership. He decided to venture out alone to clear his head, but instead stumbled upon a group of Seekers led by none other than Starscream himself. The two former cage fighters shared a mutual respect for each other's strength and fighting prowess. Starscream presented Grimlock with a choice: help him take down the Autobot control center in Sector 06, or warn the Autobots of the impending attack. Feeling disillusioned with the Autobots, Grimlock chose the former and helped the Seekers successfully overtake the stronghold, leaving behind a message of destruction in their wake. As the new Autobot leader, Optimus Prime had a lot to prove to his fellow warriors, including the hot-headed Grimlock. When Prowl assigned Grimlock to search for Prime instead of joining the defense, Grimlock saw this as an opportunity to confront the new Prime about his leadership. However, during his search, Grimlock and his team uncovered Megatron's plot to turn Cybertron into a mobile weapon of destruction. Grimlock knew that he had to act fast and split his team up to work on different objectives, with Grimlock himself going after Prime. Grimlock caught up with Prime and joined him in his quest to find Megatron. Grimlock handed Prime his Energo sword and advised him to take matters into his own hands if Megatron was the problem. After Prime successfully resolved the situation, Grimlock's doubts about the new leader were dispelled. He realized that Prime was not a coward and that he had the intelligence and courage to lead them to victory. Grimlock became one of Prime's most trusted advisors and a loyal member of the Autobot cause. During a time of darkness and chaos, Grimlock made a bold decision to break away from the Autobots under Prowl's leadership and form his own group called the Lightning Strike Coalition. However, their newfound freedom came at the cost of the Fallen, a powerful entity who began to seek them out. The Fallen had a plan to use their sparks to aid in the rebirth of Primus, which would enable Unicron to locate him. One day, Grimlock and his team were ambushed by Bludgeon, Mindswipe, and Bugly during a meeting with Shockwave and Jetfire. Grimlock fought fiercely against his enemies, but was outmatched. He even tried to execute Jetfire after the Mystics were slain, but the Fallen intervened and saved Jetfire's life. The Fallen proved to be a formidable foe, and Grimlock found himself overpowered and helpless, waking up strapped to a table. Jetfire attempted to convince him to join forces and escape, and Grimlock quickly agreed. Together, they managed to escape and evade their pursuers, but Grimlock couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. Grimlock had always been a fierce fighter, and after assuming leadership of the Dinobots, he quickly proved himself to be a valuable asset to the Autobots. When Ultra Magnus needed someone to negotiate a ceasefire with Shockwave, he knew Grimlock was the bot for the job. However, Grimlock found it challenging to adjust to the sudden peace. He felt like he wasn't fulfilling his purpose as a warrior, and struggled to find his place in the new era of Autobot life. Sadly, Grimlock's time to find his place was cut short when he sacrificed himself to save Ultra Magnus. Leaping in front of an explosion aimed at Magnus, Grimlock's body was torn apart, and it seemed like he was gone forever. The Autobots mourned the loss of one of their bravest warriors, and Ultra Magnus swore to never forget the sacrifice Grimlock made for him and for the Autobots. During his time on Earth, Grimlock became the leader of the Dinobots and a valuable asset to the Autobots. However, Megatron managed to capture the other 4 Dinobots, leaving Grimlock with a difficult decision. Megatron offered to release the Dinobots in exchange for Grimlock joining the Decepticons, and he briefly considered the offer before ultimately deciding to remain loyal to the Autobots. When Shockwave arrived on Earth with the Triple Changers, Grimlock proved his allegiance by saving Optimus Prime from Blitzwing's attack. After Megatron was sent back to Cybertron, Grimlock reunited with the Autobots and freed the rest of the Dinobots. They then stole a Decepticon shuttle and headed to Cybertron to rescue their comrades. Once at Cybertron, Grimlock played a crucial role in directing a Dinobot attack on Shockwave's base. He then engaged Shockwave in battle, but was interrupted by Blitzwing. Ultra Magnus accidentally shot Grimlock in the face during the fight, but he was healed by Perceptor and later aided in the fight. Grimlock's final confrontation was with Blitzwing, which he easily won, hurling Blitzwing into the path of a Guardian. Grimlock then reminded Optimus that he had saved them and argued that he deserved praise. After most of the Autobots left Earth, Grimlock and the Dinobots stayed behind to support Ultra Magnus. G.I. Joe vs. Transformers. In the Devil's Due comic book series, a team of Autobots led by Grimlock was sent back to Earth's past due to a malfunction in their transport system. A group of humans, including operatives from G.I. Joe and Cobra, traveled through time to retrieve them. However, they were met with opposition from Shockwave and the Decepticons. Grimlock took charge, and with the help of his newly enhanced Dinobots, he defeated Shockwave and overpowered the Decepticon army. Grimlock and his team then helped the Joes in deactivating their Cybertronian mechs, despite his initial reluctance and disinterest in humanity. When Cobra Commander was captured and imprisoned, Grimlock played a role in intimidating him into giving information. However, the Autobots and Joes were later captured by Serpentor and his allies, and Grimlock fought back, severing Serpentor's arm. He then joined the Autobots and the Joes in their rescue mission to save Optimus Prime, and his immense strength and fearless attitude contributed to their victories against the Decepticons and Cobra. Despite his initial disdain for humanity, Grimlock grew to admire and appreciate the human heroes, demonstrating his capacity for both growth and change. Beast War Comics. In the IDW Comics continuity, Grimlock serves as a warrior for the Maximals, fighting to protect their home planet from evil forces of the Predacons. Though this form is that of a fearsome beast, his allegiance lies in the noble Maximum cause. However, Grimlock struggles with the peace that is settled upon their world. He yearns for the thrill of battle and finds himself constantly seeking out dangerous missions, even if it means putting himself in harm's way. He refuses to let his skills go to waste, and would rather risk everything and waste his potential. With his unquenchable thirst for battle, Grimlock remains a valuable asset to the Maximal forces, even if his methods are a little unorthodox. To better suit his desires, Grimlock has his body upgraded to search for the most ferocious and lethal beast modes available. Marvel's appearances of Grimlock in other media. Michael Bay's Transformers films. In the film Age of Extinction, Grimlock was a captive on board Lockdown's vessel until the Autobots disconnected that part and sailed it to China. However, Optimus didn't warn his soldiers of their presence. After Galvatron's newest Decepticons gunned down their spacecraft, Optimus proceeded to seek out help from the Dinobots. Optimus was still astounded that the myth existed, and he set Grimlock and his soldiers free. Optimus informed Grimlock that all the creators wanted to wipe them all off, and he pushed them to join them or perish. Grimlock instantly faced Optimus and was defeated in battle despite his enormous size and power. Grimlock yielded to Optimus's command and led the Autobot commander atop him. Grimlock and Optimus headed for the Dinobot Autobot attack into Hong Kong, wherein Grimlock slew several Decepticons with ease. Afterward, Grimlock assisted in transporting the seed to a secure location, but Lockdown appeared and focused his tractor ray on them. Optimus would have grabbed the Dinobots and Grimlock again if he hadn't smashed the tractor beam with a well-placed shot. While battling Lockdown, Optimus commanded Grimlock, along with the others, to evacuate. Following that, the gang held out on a neighboring bridge until Optimus, Bumblebee, and the human forces triumphed and destroyed Lockdown. Optimus handed the Dinobots and Grimlock their release, and Grimlock joyfully set out with his squad for unknown destinations. In the Last Night movie, Grimlock joins the Autobots in concealment at Cade Yeager's junkyard in the days following the conflict in China. Sadly, he got the bad routine of taking the local sheriff's vehicle and chewing on it. Cade returned to find a furious sheriff demanding the handover of his car on the day he spotted a dead Cybertronian knight. Grimlock attempted to conceal the police car by eating it, but was finally chastised into vomiting it up again. Cade then blamed his helper Jimmy for not having Grimlock under control, pointing to him that the Autobots were unstable without Cade, and that Grimlock had tried to devour him at least once. Cade later contacted Grimlock's daughter Tessa as Grimlock rested at the scrapyard. The Decepticons and the TRF soldiers uncovered their hideout the next day. The Autobots and Cade then fled to a neighboring town to act out their evacuation plan as their attackers prepared to invade. Grimlock and Slug worked together to set up an ambush for the following TRF soldiers, erupting from underneath the road heading to town and demolishing the convoy. Grimlock then arrived in town just in time to protect Cade and Izzy from barricade, striking the Decepticon with his tail before knocking Megatron onto the ground. Grimlock grabbed Dreadbot and murdered the Decepticon criminal as he raced in to help. He then returned his focus on Nitro Zeus and Megatron, who fled as Grimlock unleashed his immense power on the Decepticons. Grimlock stayed in America once Cade was kidnapped by Cogman and didn't participate in the climactic fight on Cybertron.
It has been an honor to fight by your side, Bumblebee.
Video games. In the console version of Transformers Rise of the Spark, as Lockdown and his forces ambushed Bumblebee and Drift, Grimlock arrived to assist the Autobots. The Dinobot pushed the attackers to flee, allowing access to Lockdown's headquarters. Optimus and Bumblebee were on their way to Lockdown while Drift was distracted by Lockdown's soldiers. With their mutual adversaries on the verge of defeat, Grimlock fled to pursue some of the escaping mercenaries. In the 3DS version, during a raid on Lockdown's hideout, Grimlock joined the Autobots. He demolished a series of barricades that the Autobots could couldn't overcome on their own. His attacks included a stomp, a chomp for use against barriers, and a flamethrower for use against foes on his sides. Grimlock was one of the Autobots that helped defeat the Decepticons on the streets of Chicago, Detroit, and Texas in the Age of Extinction mobile game. Grimlock collaborated with Optimus Prime in the Dinobot Hunt online game to destroy Decepticon encampments and gather Energon along the way. Optimus Prime nursed the hungry Grimlock in the online Creo game Feed Grimlock. His favorite lunch was Viacons. Grimlock always had space for more food, no matter how much he ate. Grimlock was a Battle Masters contestant in Transformers Battle Masters, attempting to become a champion, and earned the Earth Belt, Cybertron Belt, Galaxy Belt, Unicron Belt, and the Primus Belt. The victor of each tournament is determined by the player. Grimlock's lair, his arena, was of course named after him.
Me Grimlock say no fun to be genius all of time.
Marvelous verdict. In conclusion, Grimlock is one of the most iconic characters in the whole Transformers franchise. As a Dinobot, he brings a unique combination of strength and intelligence to the Autobots' battle against the Decepticons. His tough exterior and gruff demeanor may make him seem unapproachable, but deep down, Grimlock is fiercely loyal and committed to protecting his friends and allies. Throughout his various appearances in comics, TV shows, and movies, Grimlock has shown time and time again that he is a force to be reckoned with. Fans of the franchise are drawn to his cool factor, as well as his unwavering determination to defeat the Decepticons. From his early days as a gladiator on Cybertron to his adventures on Earth and beyond, Grimlock has cemented his place in the hearts of Transformers fans as one of the franchise's most beloved characters. Are you a fan of Grimlock? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you liked today's episode, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, have a good one and be safe.
The meteorite menace is gone. Let's roll for home.